Auto Obsessed here. There's always something interesting and unique in the Auto Obsessed detailing studio, and today is anything but ordinary. We have something we've not seen before, and we're excited to be able to share that with you. This is a fully custom-built restomod. The term restomod is used quite a bit in the auto industry, and it usually refers to an original car that has many modifications to update it to more modern specifications while still retaining an original look on the outside. Well, there's a company you might not have heard of, Gateway Bronco. And Gateway is in a similar business as Singer, except instead of modifying classic Porsches, they're taking classic first-generation Ford Broncos and recreating them with modern components. And this is what you get. Vintage Bronco style with modern luxury, features, and performance. What we have here is a 1974 Bronco in wind blue with Ranger stripes. This truck has been recreated by Gateway, and the owner had it delivered right here to us in Edmonton, Alberta. This is essentially a brand new Bronco, and it's like it's never been on the road yet. So why is it here? Why is it here at Auto Obsessed? Well, the owner wants to drive it and enjoy it here in Alberta, both in summer and winter. So our job was to detail it, perfect it, and protect it. Check out this detailing project. The first Ford Broncos came out in 1966, and in automotive history, the 60s was a time of growth and experimentation. And the Bronco embodies those qualities even today. I mean, just looking at this truck, you're transported to a time of freedom and optimism. It's really cool just to be in the same room with this Bronco. It has a really positive vibe. So granted, this is an unusual vehicle for us, but essentially this is a new car prep detail. So this is very similar to other new vehicle preps. So first off is discussing with the owner kind of what their usage is, what the environment's going to be like, and in our case, you know, what season the vehicle is going to drive in. So the owner was quite clear that even though this is, at this stage right now, virtually a full-blown show vehicle, that they do want to drive this vehicle. So this vehicle is intended to be driven, even though it's full-blown show. It even spent time on Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, but he does want to bring this vehicle out, drive it here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, in summer and potentially winter as well. So going over the vehicle with the clients, determine kind of what the usage was, and also more importantly, you know, the shape of the vehicle and what type of protection we can do. So in our climate with all the rocks and sand and such, and not only that, this vehicle isn't a typical vehicle at all. A paint job like this is not an easy thing to redo. I mean, first of all, the cost would be astronomical, and the labor and all the work that would have to go into it to do a repaint just would be ridiculous. And the owners did exactly what a new owner should be on a new vehicle, whether it's a restomod like this or a brand new vehicle, is do the protection right off the bat. You know, do as much as you can. That's going to protect your investment. That's going to save you a lot of money in the long run, and that's going to preserve and make the vehicle more enjoyable. And I guess, you know, protecting the investment, it's going to make the vehicle hold its value a lot longer. So looking at the vehicle, there's quite a bit of things that kind of jump out to me when we're looking at impact. So right off the bat, we've got these huge off-road street knobby tires. So they're going to pick up a lot of debris and send it across the vehicle. It does have the optional wheel flares, but the rubber still sits out quite a bit. Behind the tire, we've got a big area here that the debris is going to be picked up by the tire and be sent up to the whole side of the vehicle. So these areas here, to me, it's going to be pretty difficult to drive this vehicle without taking these areas into consideration. On the front of the vehicle, right off the bat, this isn't like a modern car where we've got plastic bumpers and molded grille and you know, if it did have to be repainted, it wouldn't be, you know, wouldn't be as elaborate as something like this. This is a full-blown steel front end, a steel bumper. The grille is steel, painted steel on top of that. This is all one piece. It looks like multi-piece, but it's actually one piece. And then the steel hood and fenders. Looking at the front here too, we have a very, very, very flat windshield. So for it to get impacted, it's going to be very, very high probability. That is an optional Gorilla Glass windshield, and so that will help a little bit, but that's also an area that we were looking at. The top of the roof is definitely an impact area, and the carbon fiber sun visor at top as well. That's going to be an impact area. So up front here, we opted to do the whole thing. And unlike a modern vehicle where we can get custom templates, we can get templates that are pre-made specifically for the car, and they already have gone ahead and done all the impact areas. There's nothing available for a 1974 restomod Ford Bronco. So this had to be all custom made. And as I mentioned, this grille and these fender caps are all one piece. So a lot of disassembly was involved in this car. The headlights, all the markers here, the emblem, and then painstakingly applied paint protection film to cover all areas of this grille. The front portions of the front of the grille that goes into the fenders, very, very tricky area. That's all custom. Full hood, full fenders. We did windshield film on top of the Gorilla Glass and have paint protection film on the roof portion and also on the sun visor. So at a glance, you know, as I mentioned, there's no templates, and as a glance, the vehicle, you know, most people probably think, well, it's pretty straightforward. You know, it's flat and pretty much straight, but it's actually quite complex, and especially when you have to do custom and also make it seamless. So this vehicle is very, very seamless. It's very, very difficult to tell it has paint protection film, and the owner opted to do the whole vehicle. So full fenders. To do the fenders, we had to remove the badging, remove the fender flares, full doors, so we had to remove the mirrors, door handles, door locks, again, fender flares, and then tackle this as much as you can in one piece. The fender flares are all done in one piece, and dealing with all these bolts. So a lot of labor involved, but it looks absolutely phenomenal. So that kind of covers off some of the paint protection film. We go to the interior, I'll show a couple things we did with that as well. On the outside of the car, the other criteria that the owner wanted, and like a lot of our clients that have some of these high profile cars, you know, they're absolute car enthusiasts, but you know, like most people, they got really busy lives, and maybe detailing's not a high priority for them. They're not like a weekend warrior where they want to set aside a couple days and go ahead and do an extensive detail. So we factor that in mind and try to look at something to protect the film and give the exterior as much protection on top, and also minimize, you know, their maintenance as much as possible. So prepping the vehicle, we did a full paint correction. This is a high-end restomod car, so the paint was done extremely well. But you know, there's always some small imperfections, and you know, when you're going for enhancing the looks as much as you can and giving it ultimate gloss and aesthetics, you know, we always go over the vehicle and do whatever minor correction is required. We did a full paint correction on it, got into a lot of the layers and fixed it up, and then went ahead to prepare the vehicle for the paint protection film. So after all the prep and the paint protection film, then we looked at what can we do to protect the film and also bring down the maintenance time for the owner so they could spend more time enjoying the vehicle and less time in the garage doing the detailing. So we opted for a ceramic coating. This is a professional ceramic coating, so a fair amount of prep involved, and it's also a longer life. It also has incredible looks, as you can see here. So with all the prep we did, and then the film, and then the ceramic coating, the gloss is incredible, super silky smooth, and that's going to help the owner maintain the vehicle. It's going to resist certain things. It's going to help a little bit. We have salt and calcium chloride, maybe there's some tree sap, maybe bird droppings, bugs, etc. A ceramic coating does help and puts a little bit of a barrier in there to protect it better than, let's say, paint protection film with nothing or paint with nothing. So it does help out quite a bit. And one of the biggest things it does is enhances the gloss and also makes it really easy to wash and maintain the vehicle. So that was done throughout the vehicle. On the chassis and such, there's not a whole lot you can do to something like this. It's all exposed, and it's one of those things, you're either going to drive it or you're not going to drive it. So there wasn't a lot we could do on preserving. There was rock guard applied by Gateway already, so it does have a lot of the areas considered to protect from certain things that obviously original 1974 Bronco would not have had. So the wheels here, I think this is a pretty important feature of the vehicle. At a glance, these look like an original hubcap from a 1974 Bronco, but they're not. These are full-blown custom billet aluminum wheels, and they're polished. So what we did with that was we put on a metal sealant. That's going to help put a little bit of barrier on there, make it a little bit shinier, and obviously much, much easier to wash. Now looking at the engine bay here. So for the new vehicle prep on this car, we went through the engine bay and just did kind of final detailing and touch-ups of the engine. One of the highlights here is the power plant. So this is obviously nothing even close to what the vehicle would have come with in 1974. This is a V8 Coyote Roche, and it's also Roche supercharged. So this packs about 600 horsepower. So definitely not even close to what a vehicle would have come with, and a highlight of this build for sure. We spent a lot of detail and listed everything on the outside of the car, but there's a huge area that we haven't talked about yet, and that's the suspension and the undercarriage. Underneath, everything is painted to body color. There's a ton of detail here. It's an absolute piece of art. We mentioned already that it has the Roche Coyote engine with a Roche supercharger. It has also a 10-speed automatic transmission. It has a full custom Kinser powder-coated frame with a full tuned 4-link suspension and active ride control. It has a Bilstein suspension, 3.5-inch lift. It has a 2-inch aluminum body lift, has sway bars back to front. It has 9-inch Dana rear and front diff. It has an Eaton Detroit True Track rear. It has Wildwood 18-inch cross-drilled big brakes, and the exhaust system is full stainless steel from front to back, including the muffler and the cats. There's so much that's going on under there. There's no possible way that I could list everything. It's something that really needs to be seen. At the back of the vehicle, so you can see a lot of attention to detail. At the back of it, I can see right off the bat the leather seats for the passengers. We've got the roll bar that's leather wrapped, 3-point seat belt for the rear passengers, and we have this wood theme that goes throughout. So this is actually reclaimed wood from a barn. You can see some of the old nail holes here. And then right in the middle of the end gate, we have this logo that the owner had made up, and she put the saying, "Adventure awaits." She plans on taking it up to the mountains and enjoying it. And this is just the back of the vehicle. Wait till you see the rest of the interior. So inside the vehicle right off the bat, we can see this isn't anywhere near what a 1974 Bronco would look like. One of the coolest things is the roof. So this has a power sliding roof. So on those beautiful sunny days, slide back the roof. Most of the roof opens up. That's probably like 3/4 of the roof is fully exposed for outside. Looking at the front dashboard right off the bat, we've got a GT 350 steering wheel, leather wrapped dashboard. This is done in Porsche leather. The seats, high back seats in the Porsche leather, black and white houndstooth inserts throughout the vehicle and on the door panels. We've got, on another thing that jumps out to me is the dashboard. Very simplistic dashboard, but it has a lot of beautiful billet work. And around the steering column, we got this nice little plate, says Bronco on it, and each one of the knobs, and the knobs carry on from the door lock to the window crank, and then each one of the levers is this billet knob, and it's got this rubber tire tread. So one, it's nice to touch, but it also goes along with the theme of this, you know, rough Bronco style off-road vehicle. So that's a great touch. It has upgraded air conditioning and heating system. So same thing, we got nice billet air ducts, and the whole theme kind of carries all the way through. The pedals are done in billet aluminum. Another thing too is all the electronics have been upgraded. So it has basically all the creature comforts you'd want. It has a navigation system, very, very high-end stereo system. It has backup camera, power windshield wipers, everything that you'd want, even heated seats. The back seats as well, they're done in the same style as the front, so they're like a high back done in Porsche leather with the black and white houndstooth. So everything kind of carries on through. The sun visor, everything has that same look and feel, and it's very comfortable. Couple safety features. It has a 3-point harness, which obviously this car wouldn't have had. It has a 4-point roll bar, and it also has the matching Porsche leather with the beautiful stitching. There's embroidery throughout on the carpets and on the console where it has Gateway Bronco. Kind of matches the whole theme all the way around. Another neat feature is the power windows here. So this looks like a regular window crank, but it's actually a power window switch. So we just pull it down, the window goes down and up, and the window goes up. So a real cool feature, makes it look like the rustic, the nostalgic, the vintage look that the Bronco would have, but modern power windows. So when we were looking at the interior and going over things with the owner, we wanted to also make sure that we weren't just protecting the outside of the car, but we also did considerations of protecting the inside of the car. So all the leather dashboard, the seats, the console, so we cleaned and conditioned the leather on all the leather areas. There's a lot of leather in here. The seat backs, we have that black and white houndstooth, so the inserts were done in a fabric ceramic coating. The carpets were also done in a fabric ceramic coating. On another consideration, you know, this is a kind of vehicle where you drive, more than likely, top open, window down, arm out the window. These have painted door panels, so not like today's cars where they're plastic or maybe leather or vinyl wrap. This is steel, and your watch could easily damage, rings, etc. So we took that into consideration, and all the entire inside of the door is done in paint protection film to match the outside of the door. So both the outside of the door and the inside, all the painted areas on the door are done in paint protection film as well. On the dashboard, we did a ceramic coating on the dashboard, and just wanted to make sure that, you know, people are getting in and out to make sure it's protected. So this vehicle's raised quite high. It does have a power step, but you still have to do a pretty big reach to get into the car. So there's a chance that shoes, etc., are going to kick the sill plate. So we did that all in paint protection film as well. So we wanted to make sure that, as we know the customer is going to use a car, we want to give it as much protection as possible. And one of the highlights while we're sitting here with the key in the ignition is the Roush V8 supercharged engine. So it's about 600 horsepower, all custom exhaust. Let's give it a turn here. great sounding. It'll be a really reliable engine, provide more than enough horsepower, and obviously bring a ton of smiles just by listening to this powerhouse. We hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to especially thank the owner for allowing us to share this vehicle with our audience and for her business. I know she's super excited to get this Bronco on the road and make some amazing memories with it. As a bonus, we also have the full detailed write-up on this vehicle with a ton of pictures breaking down the detailing process we did on this Bronco. And we've also listed some of the products we used on this vehicle. Products can be found in store or online at autoobsessed.com. And all the links are in the description below to make it easier for you. Please help us bring more detailing content to you by giving us a like, leaving us a comment below, and subscribing to our channel. And thank you for watching.